Hello and welcome. I'm Phil Torres, here to talk about innovations that can change lives. We're going to explore the intersection of hardware and humanity, and we're doing it in a unique way. This is a show about science by scientists. Let's check out our team of hardcore nerds. Marita Davison is a biologist specializing in ecology and evolution. Tonight, a possible breakthrough that could feed the planet. A meat substitute that claims to taste the same as a real thing.
It does taste like chicken.
We put it to the ultimate test at a barbecue joint. Dr. Crystal Dilworth is a molecular neuroscientist. Tonight, vaping inside the world of e-cigarettes, the innovation that's sweeping the nation.
I am never going back to cigarettes.
But what's the real science behind this fad? Kyle Hill is an engineer. And I'm Phil Torres, I'm an entomologist. Tonight, spiders. One builds its own decoy, the other spins a slingshot in its web. Amazing discoveries from my trip to the rainforest of Peru. That's our team. Now let's do some science. Hi guys, welcome to TechKnow. I'm Phil Torres and I'm here with Kyle, Marita, and Crystal. Now guys, as an entomologist, I love a good challenge in the field. And there's recently a scientific mystery that I went to the Peruvian Amazon to try to solve. Now take a look at this. Look at this weird circular structure.
What is that?
We went down there with very little information except for the fact that this thing had been found on one island twice. So take a look. One of the best things about working in the Amazon rainforest is the adventure along the way to uncovering these scientific mysteries. Join me on this expedition that's sure to get wet, wild, and a little bit muddy. The Peruvian Amazon is one of the world's hotspots for biodiversity and one of the last true remaining wildernesses with a huge population of endemic plant and animal species, meaning that they are found nowhere else on Earth. Why here in Tambopata? Because it is one of the unique places in the Amazon that has been almost completely undisturbed by human pressures like hunting and deforestation. This makes it one of the most beautiful and pristine places around. About 6 months ago, a researcher here at the Tambopata Research Center found a weird circular web structure, took a picture of it, and then posted it on the internet. Little did he know the huge amount of attention it would get, as people from amateurs to experts tried to figure out what it was. We're here now with a team of scientists with a mission to figure out what's making it. All right, so we've reached the island where this thing was first found about 6 months ago, and we just found 20 of them a few days ago. So what is the goal tonight, Larry?
Catch an adult in the act.
We're gonna try to get one in the act of actually making the structure, because right now it's really hard to tell still what's making it. So this thing has really confused me because I keep going between it being possibly a spider or maybe some weird spider mite that nobody has ever found before, because everything we've seen in there looks so little. So what do you think it is so far?
I don't think it's either, and I have no idea. But I don't think it's a spider or a mite.
Our nighttime search yielded no new answers as the mystery structure continued to dumbfound us. Exhausted, discouraged, and momentarily stumped, we turned our attention to another one of our intriguing scientific discoveries. A spider that creates a fake spider within its web. So what's our current plan?
So the first thing we're going to do is find as many decoy spiders as possible, and for each one we'll flag them with this stuff. We'll go through, flag as many as we can, and every 12 hours or so we'll take some photos of them, and hopefully we can get a good understanding of how they're building these structures and how they're changing over time, especially considering how much rain we've been getting.
Yeah, and then using the ruler we can actually tell the rate of growth.
Exactly.
Because right now we don't really have an idea of how fast they can build those fake spiders.
Exactly. It's kind of like we're watching little architects in action.
That's right. All right, man. Let's do it.
Well, what's interesting though is, like, despite being so small, it also seems like it's undergone the most growth since we've been watching.
Right, and I mean, if you can imagine, once this develops a little bit more, it's going to look really pretty spider-like, and that should help it avoid getting eaten.
Exactly.
So let's take a closer look with our cameras. Yeah, I mean, that's basically 8 centimeters, which is huge when you compare it to the size of the actual spider, which is maybe
less than
3-4 millimeters.
exactly.
That's
Actually, it looks like he just did molt. Look, that looks like a shed skin,
yeah,
and
you're
I'm
right.
really curious if he's going to put that into the decoy in the middle.
into his decoy. Basically, you shed your skin and then make it part of your house.
Yeah.
That's kind of.
Oh, that's awesome.
You should definitely write this down and also make note of all the rain that we've been getting these last few days, so we have a record of why this one is kind of messed up compared to last time.
You know, the really great thing about studying something that's so unknown is that every little tiny bit of information we get on it is like a mountain more than we had previously. It's so easy.
Yeah, that's amazing. So this was spider number 5?
Yeah.
Aside from man, the decoy spider is the only known species to construct a diversion as a means of survival. Happy with the answers we found for the decoy spider, we returned to our Tambopata lab to search for the answers we still lacked for the mystery structure.
I can't think of a purpose for having like a tall tower in the center of this fence.
It's really, really confusing. And I mean, one of the more confusing things are these mites that we keep seeing in there.
Yeah, but I mean, I can't see them being responsible for it, but we do keep seeing them on just about every structure that we've looked at.
One of the really bizarre things is how many of these structures we've seen, yet we haven't seen something actually build them. We really have no idea.
It's been really frustrating. Right now, we just need to wait for something to emerge out of these things, or find whoever's responsible for making these while they're in the act of making it.
What I think is amazing is how many experts were asked about this. Some of the top spider scientists out there have chimed in, and they can really only guess to maybe a family level, which can contain 1,000 species. They really are very unsure, which is why it's so exciting to be here right now, because we may be able to solve this mystery.
Perplexed but hopeful for a breakthrough, we turn to a different kind of thrill for our next quest. One of the most fascinating species found in the Amazon is the tarantula. We decided to take a peek inside their habitat.
So we've come across what we think to be a tarantula burrow. Now, Larry here has the end of the scope, which has the camera on it, and I have the screen. So what we're going to do is try to coordinate between the two of us to look inside there and see, A, if we can find the tarantula, and B, what else is in there. So, you ready to give it a shot?
Let's do it. Oh, wow, he's right there. It is a tarantula.
Whoa, I just saw fangs.
I think it just struck at the camera, which is kind of amazing.
Oh,
I saw fangs again.
I felt that through the cord.
I felt it through the screen.
Oh.
Wow. Still striking this.
I just have this vision of him coming out and like really fast and me screaming, flailing backwards, knocking you over, and the spider on my hand or face.
There are a lot of spiders here in the Amazon. Why do you think there's so much left to be discovered?
So first off, the scientific community hasn't given arachnids in general as much attention as they've given to insects. Secondly, here in the Amazon, species diversity is high. We're sitting in the most biodiverse place on the planet, and compared to temperate regions, this area hasn't received the attention needed to adequately survey the extent of its biodiversity.
On our last day in the Amazon, our investigative persistence paid off. We were all amazed to witness the emergence of a single tiny spiderling from the center pole-like structure, which was indeed an egg sac. This is a radical departure from what we know about spider reproductive strategy, where numerous eggs are laid and then protected by the mother. One more discovery from the many secrets hidden in the jungle.
I think spider experts are going to be quite skeptical of what we found, but you know, we were there, we saw the things that hatched out of it, we did as well as we could to really isolate these things, so it's going to be a great one to follow up on.
How long did it take you to find the region where these structures were discovered?
You know, to get to that island, it takes 4 flights, a bus ride, and 2 canoe rides.
Wow.
So it's quite a journey getting out there, which is part of the fun, but then when we got there, we couldn't believe the fact that we actually found one, let alone 45 of these things, because we had very little evidence to go on. We just knew that there was 2 found on this island, and we happened to find a bunch more.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Now, Marita, you have something quite different coming up for us, and I hear it is edible, maybe.
So imagine a day when you go to the supermarket And instead of going to the meat section, you go to the protein section. So you've got chicken, beef, pork, but you've got a whole array of plant protein to choose from as well. There's a company that is actually trying to make that a reality. And I got to check out their product, do a bit of a taste test, and put it to the test in a barbecue. Let's check it out. Grilled, sautéed, processed, or packaged.
The organic, grass-fed.
America's obsession with meat is ferocious.
4 pounds, even better.
And bigger is better when it comes to our appetite, as evident in this iconic fast foods ad from the 1980s, which epitomizes Americans' infatuation with meat.
Where's the beef?
We consume over 270 pounds per person per year. But now the demand for meat is spreading to new global heights, and experts predict we won't be able to sustain it.
Well, I would say we're already not doing it sustainably. We already are drawing on the planet's resources more than we really should be if you just look at climate change alone.
The United Nations estimates that meat consumption will rise nearly 75% by 2050. The rising trend has triggered a new crop of meat alternatives, hoping to ease our reliance. Here in El Segundo, California, we have a small town with a cozy feel, but it's also the headquarters of a startup with ambitions that are anything but small.
I had a sort of a calling internally to do something about, 1, the animal welfare component, 2, the climate change component, 3, human health.
Ethan Brown is the CEO of Beyond Meat.
I started looking at technology so that you'd still be able to enjoy meat, but it'd be all out of plant matter. We're taking protein from plants, and instead of running it through the industrial livestock system, we're taking it and creating a fiber structure that is truly reminiscent of meat.
What makes your product unique?
It's the beauty of that fibrous structure that is indistinguishable from meat. I'm not saying we're there yet. We're probably 70 to 80% of the way there, but we're definitely not going to stop until you can look at a chicken breast and you look at our product and you can say, I can't tell the difference.
For decades, tofu and veggie-based mock meat products have targeted consumers as an alternative, but none have seemed to satisfy their carnivore cravings.
One of the challenges that alternative meat companies need to address, how do you produce an alternative protein that may in fact deliver more protein per unit, while also trying to meet some of the cultural values and cultural traditions connected to protein?
Here is where we do product development, we do recipe development. So now we're gonna make fajitas. So here we go.
That's good. It's hard to tell the difference.
Even before I became involved as the entrepreneur, professors at the University of Missouri who were working on this, Fu-Hung Hsieh and Harold Huff, who were 2 truly brilliant guys, just doing trial and error with the assembly of these proteins through the heating, cooling, and pressure process. And about 10 years later, they got it.
All production for Beyond Meat happens under one roof, right here in the plant in Columbia, Missouri.
We're standing in the manufacturing space. What we're going to do right now is go through the various processing steps through to packaging.
Okay, let's check it out.
So this is our first time we see the product. We take our dry material, we take our wet ingredients, we mix them together, form a slurry, and this is what it comes out to be like.
It definitely looks really chicken-like.
This next step is take our strands of this and ultimately send them through a chopper that gives them to the chickenless strips.
How am I doing, David?
You're doing good.
We put in fluids, spices, and flavorings. Then we'll go to the grill, where we actually sear the surface to give it that little bit of balance and presentation.
The whole process takes only 1.5 hours. Compare that to real chicken, where production takes weeks. To produce just 1 pound of chicken, it takes about 468 gallons of water, 2 pounds of grain or feed, and 8 times the amount of fossil fuels than is used to grow plants. It's one thing to say your product looks and tastes the most like chicken, but it's another to put it to the test in an authentic Texas barbecue. Get ready for a throwdown. Rita, so you ready to smoke up some chicken?
Absolutely, let's do it.
Let's go. So this is what's going to be compared to the real chicken.
Compared to this, yes.
Okay. What do you think we can do with something like this?
The only thing I think I would do with it was we do a pulled chicken sandwich, add a little of our Chipotle barbecue sauce.
So Mike, if you were to serve this sandwich up here, you think your average customer would be able to tell the difference?
Unfortunately, I would say yes. My barbecue customers that come here, they're very knowledgeable on food.
Can I ask some of your customers to try this?
Absolutely.
Let's do it. Steak. What's your favorite thing to order here?
Baby back ribs for me. Yeah, definitely a brisket. We got 2 orders of it.
We cooked up a pulled chicken sandwich that actually doesn't have any chicken in it. So you guys want to give it a shot?
Sure. Yeah.
All right.
It does taste like chicken.
What do you think?
The sauce, too, is very much a chicken sauce.
If the meat's not the
main
star of your meal, then it works.
I'm a big meat eater, so I don't know that I would choose it over real meat.
Yeah.
But if there was a health benefit, I could do it.
There's something about eating that juicy piece of meat. Do you think it'll be a huge challenge, a big leap for a meat eater to switch?
That's the billion-dollar question.
So any of you guys ready to give up your beef brisket for a chicken sandwich like this?
Honestly, not yet, but it's pretty good.
Let me know how it tastes.
It looks like chicken.
Yeah, I mean, if you can, tear it apart. See, I mean, you can see the layering, and it really is trying to mimic that animal tissue.
It's closer to actual chicken than I expected. The texture's good for faux meat, I think.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's almost hard to tell a difference.
Even the appearance, I think, makes a difference. If that were brown or green and you ate it, you probably wouldn't say it tastes much like chicken.
There's a lot of research on that, how the color affects food, and that's why it's really important to not just make a substitute for meat, but make faux meat. It has to look the part.
So what's the benefit for me to choose this faux meat product over an actual chicken in the grocery store then?
According to them, there's 2 of them, 2 main ones. One is a health benefit in that it doesn't have all those saturated fats. You know, they really can isolate.
Delicious saturated fats.
The second benefit is an environmental benefit in that traditional meat production has a pretty hefty environmental footprint. They're taking the animal out of the equation and providing the protein directly to you.
All right, from fake meat to a type of fake cigarette. Now, Crystal, what technology are you bringing us this week?
We're going to talk about vaping, which is the use of electronic cigarettes. They're increasing in popularity. We went to a convention in Anaheim to really look at this increasing subculture.
All right, let's check it out.
Everywhere you look these days, people are puffing on a new alternative to conventional tobacco cigarettes. They're called electronic cigarettes, and they've become hugely popular, thanks in part to a slew of glitzy television ads featuring celebrities promoting their virtues.
I'm Jenny McCarthy, and I finally found a smarter alternative to cigarettes.
As a nicotine researcher, I was intrigued to witness this phenomenon firsthand.
We're here at the first ECC, Southern California Electronic Cigarette Convention. E-cigs were invented in China about 10 years ago, and recently they've exploded in popularity in the United States, with sales estimated to hit $1.7 billion this year. So let's go in and see what the fuss is all about.
Whoa. Cigarettes aren't cool anymore, believe it or not.
After losing his father to lung cancer, a Chinese pharmacist named Han Lik invented the first electronic cigarette in 2003 as a safer alternative to cigarettes. With e-cigs, there's no combustion to produce the carcinogens found in conventional cigarettes. Instead, there's a battery-powered atomizer that heats up a liquid mixture inside. This mixture turns into vapor, which the user inhales. The habit is called vaping, and those who do it call themselves vapors.
When I used to smoke cigarettes, I'd wake up in the morning, my lungs would hurt really bad, and I started vaping, and after that, it just progressively got better and better and better.
But not everyone sticks with e-cigs. There are major differences in the experiences. For one, e-cigs don't have the heat of conventional cigarettes. But those who have converted to e-cigs say the health benefits are worth it, including the potential to wean yourself off nicotine. Customizing the amount of nicotine you want is especially easy with reusable e-cigarettes known as mods. Mods are not only refillable, but often feature variable voltage batteries.
I can customize the amount of draw, if it's a colder hit, if it's a warmer hit. as well as that's just one piece of the puzzle. There's like hundreds and hundreds of variations that you can make.
The liquid in the e-cigarette canister can contain anything from concentrations of nicotine from 0 to 25 or 26 milligrams, and sweet things called juices, which gives e-cigarettes their fruity flavor. Here's where the controversy lies. Critics are concerned that these attractive fruity flavors could help young people that start vaping e-cigs transition into conventional cigarettes.
We have over 100 flavors. We're basically the yogurt land of e-juice. There's a pizza sample if you want.
Oh my God, it actually smells like pizza.
Smells like pizza.
I would eat this. For me, because of my background, like what's one of my main concerns is, right now, is there a top limit to the concentration of nicotine that you can put in?
Right now, there's not. You have the choice right now to go and buy some nicotine online and mix your own juice.
We tend to regulate that in this country. We don't like people making their own moonshine in their bathtubs.
Correct.
So this is something that the FDA is going to step in and influence.
The FDA is going to regulate, and we're prepared for that.
But so far, the FDA has not set forth any regulations for the manufacture, sale, or marketing of e-cigarettes. In the meantime, there's a Wild West vibe to the industry and a growing movement of passionate vapers like 73-year-old Karen Lee.
I am never going back to cigarettes. I smoked for 55 years.
Well, how do you feel then about the proposed FDA regulations that are going to be coming out?
I think they stink.
Why?
Because they're going to condemn people to death, and they're going to drive people right back to cigarettes that are already vaping and living a healthier lifestyle.
But healthier doesn't necessarily mean healthy.
Researchers are only now starting to investigate the health implications of e-cigarettes.
I don't want to see people galloping to assume that this is the solution to the problem of smoking before they know its health effects and its public health effects.
Professor Suzanne Schick is a researcher at UCSF who is about to embark on an FDA-funded study on how e-cigarettes affect the cardiovascular system.
I'm going to model puffing on an e-cigarette, and what I blow out will be what the person who is smoking it is inhaling. So this is a laser photometer. It's an instrument I use to measure the mass of particles that are in the air. So we're at 4 micrograms per cubic meter right now. And the moment I start flowing that across the inlet to the particle monitor,
wow.
Yeah, now we're actually spiking because this thing won't read over 100 milligrams. So we shifted from micrograms to over 100 milligrams. It's a lot of particles. The reason I care about particles is that breathing particles causes cardiovascular disease, causes people to die of heart attacks, plain and simple.
There's also the potential impact of secondhand vaping, and even something you could call third-hand vaping.
I know that when you release nicotine into the room and it settles on a surface, it reacts with normal gases in the air to form carcinogens.
As e-cigarettes grow in popularity, there should be alarm bells ringing, warning us to look deeper and beyond, you could say, the vape and mirrors.
How did you feel being surrounded by that many people vaping?
I definitely felt the exposure to nicotine, like all of those symptoms that I think about when I'm studying nicotine exposure, right? My heart rate was accelerating. I was starting to feel the effects just being in the room.
So from spiders to faux meat to e-cigarettes, it's been quite a fun and interesting week of science, and we'll catch you next time on TechKnow.
Dive deep into these stories and go behind the scenes at aljazeera.com/techknow. Follow our expert contributors on Twitter, Facebook, Google+, and more.